Are there any sort of keys that you look for in a niche or industry where you think, yes, there can be a community, we can build an email list, people will want to subscribe? Are there any like key aspects that you look for?
I think that you can do this in any niche. I really do, but I think that you need to want to. So you're not going to build an audience and a community yourself as a site operator, as a content site builder, if you don't care about the niche that you're in. It won't happen. So if you want to do this and you want to be, more anti-fragile, or trying to achieve the concept of anti-fragile, which is reading Nassim's books since the pandemic, then you should look to try and create an audience that can kind of carry you through bad times. And so, like a Google update or like an Amazon update. So I think you can do this in any niche, but you need to care about it. You need to be, into the subject matter. You need to be passionate about it. And so it's not for everyone. I mean, niche sites, affiliate sites, it's not going to go away, and you can just do the keyword research, you can outsource the content, you can outsource the link building and rank a site and flip a site, and that's perfectly viable. But if you are at the two gods of Google or Amazon, if it's Amazon site, Google and Amazon, by doing that. So if you want to be able to sleep easier at night and hold these assets longer term, then building an email list, building an audience, getting return visitors is the way to go. And the platform that I've chosen for this newsletter is called Substack, and it's predominantly for writers and podcasters. But I can see the ability to make a full-time living creating publications like this, and actually not needing any of the technical stuff that comes with WordPress. Everything I'm doing now is on Substack. It's really refreshing. I think that anyone can create a full-time living in any niche doing this now. If you choose to do so, you just need to build up like a free subscriber list, a free email list first. You need to get to 1,000 to 2,000 email subscribers. I think is a good place. And then once people learn about you, value your content, like what you're doing, want to support you, you can create premium content, paid content, and a percentage of those people are going to go with you. And so with Substack, they say aim for 10%. Other platforms, it's like 3 to 5%. At the moment, 3% of my free subscribers are now converting into paid subscribers. But I launched on Substack a few weeks ago, so that's now catching up. That's kind of rising quite quickly. That will level out. But yeah, so with what I'm doing, I now have companies sponsoring the newsletter. So I have ads. I'm able to drop in affiliate links, and I have a paid subscriber list as well. So there's 3 different types of monetization, and I own those subscribers in terms of the Stripe account, and it's not a Google play. Like, I don't care about search traffic at all. It's a brand play, it's an audience play, and it's very refreshing. And I think there's a lot that could be learned by attempting this, even if it's like you don't consider it could be something completely different to what you're doing building content sites. Just find something that you're most passionate about and see if you can build an audience, because by getting that skill and understand and learning how other people are monetizing their lists by creating paid subscribers, I think is a very valuable skill set that you can then apply to whatever website that you want to build out and hold longer term. So yeah, it's a whole new world. I've learned a lot, and it feels a very natural fit, and I feel stronger than ever. That no one can take away my audience, whereas Google and Amazon can take away your livelihood if you are dependent on them. So
Overnight.
Yeah, I'd recommend
bananas.
people look into that. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because like we said, we've known each other for a few years here, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, content is free out there. Everyone's giving it away for free, but it definitely makes it a not valueless, but it's a commodity where people don't really pay attention to it. And
I didn't see the opportunity until just a couple of months ago, and now I see such a huge opportunity. It's ridiculous for so many people. And so with the podcast, what I'm doing now is the first 30 minutes is free for the free RSS feed that everyone gets, and then after that it's for paying subscribers. I saw the Acquired podcast, Acquired.fm, which is to do with venture capital. They were doing that. I've seen a couple of others doing that. and thought, okay, this seems a pretty good way of doing it. You don't have to create additional content. You can just cut up the content that you're already creating and put part of it behind a paywall, and people are subscribing from it. Like I sent a podcast episode on Friday. Directly from that one post, 5 people signed up as paid subscribers. I assume because they wanted to hear the second part of the episode. So yeah, you need to really, content has been seen as free, but I think you can reconceptualize your content as the product going forward, and not having to put out free content all the time in order to sell a course, or in order to sell, training or consultancy or services. The actual content can be the product that people value and will pay for. And yeah, just having done so much research and seen so many examples of people making 5 figures a month just through a newsletter, through a podcast, through building a community. There's so many examples. I have like a massive Trello list, and it's incredibly inspiring. And yeah, a real alternative to the grind, what can be a grind with, churning out new sites. Yeah.
Or, and I'm just thinking like a normal narcissistic person. I'm thinking, oh, how does this apply to me? Of course. But I'm thinking of all the content that I put out, which I enjoy a lot, but I'll say something, which I think it'll be okay. So we're 44 minutes in. YouTube is really weird because there's so many distractions. There's a lot of morons on YouTube that watch like the first 2 minutes of my video, which if you're watching this now, you're not a moron. You're awesome. Thanks for watching. And then the podcast listeners, as you know, they're great. Podcast listeners are so engaged. I mean, I'm one myself and I love podcasts in general. So it totally makes sense. And especially with the fact that there's so much content, if someone actually, pay, how much is a subscription?
Yeah, so I've priced it at $49 a month because the offering that I was leading with was this deals newsletter. So every week I do research across the whole market and I create the best content site deals. That's pretty time intensive and pretty valuable. I get access to deals that other people would have to, pay for membership access or pay for a deposit to get. So, I think a valuable thing. But if I were to do it again, I would have priced it slightly less and have a much higher percentage of paying subscribers to free subscribers. But people who are just doing like podcasts, they typically charge $10 a month. But if you have a look at substack.com/discover, you'll see the top 25 publications. You'll see how many subscribers they have and what they charge in all different types of categories. And it really is possible to get people paying for content that you're probably already putting out. And the beauty with tying everything together into a platform like Substack, and I think Substack is pretty unique, is that your free newsletter promotes your everything kind of drives everything else. So you get free subscribers because you're putting out a good weekly newsletter. Because of that, they then receive your podcast episodes, because every post that you publish on Substack, it gets pushed out to the web and it gets pushed out to email. So people can share your newsletter on the web, which is amazing because normally when you send a newsletter, it gets lost. And people also then receive your audio content, which is just a post where you upload an MP3. It looks exactly the same. And everything just helps everything else. Everything grows everything else. Your email, your newsletter drives your podcast episodes. It's a great platform to be on. And there are plenty of other alternatives as well. But I see a lot of people doing a lot of jointed efforts with, blog content, newsletter, YouTube channel, podcast, different feeds. There's a lot of upside by bringing it all together. And people would be surprised how many people would be happy to support that. And once you kind of focus on one area and bring it all together, it's a lot more easily consumed and visible and obvious to people. And you can demonstrate your value a lot better. So like I'm not putting out any more content on my personal site now. Like my personal site, my WordPress site, that's kind of done. So it's interesting. It's really, because I've been SEO guy for up to now, but nothing I'm doing right now going forward is an SEO play with this publication. But you can get these to very sizable, revenue numbers and subscriber numbers. I mean, the top newsletters that I follow, Morning Brew has 2 million subscribers. Last I heard, 20 million revenue. And that's just from advertising. They don't have I don't think so, a paid part to that.
Amazing.
The Hustle newsletter has a paid part called Trends, but these can be really big businesses. And then they're doing nothing more than what you're already currently doing, what I was doing, that I've now repackaged. It's kind of blown my mind that there's this opportunity that was not visible to me, and a lot of other people are not seeing this, but this is.
Well, it's blowing. I'm sorry to interrupt you. It's so different from, what we see, where it's just like pump out content, free content. But unfortunately, everyone's doing that. Well, I guess one thing I want to ask is it sounds like it's fully integrated. So the email list is all on the same platform with the podcast platform, and you can build your email list, which you own, like the name. So if you thought, hey, I'm going to go to some email service provider and I want to go back to the old model, you could. Is that accurate?
Yeah, one click export. Like literally, you click a button, it immediately dumps the CSV into your downloads folder. So I mean, there's no waiting, there's no asking. You own the subscriptions in Stripe. You can cancel. Everything would carry on. I'm assuming they're a platform. They support creators. They want to support people. So I'm sure there's a way that you could very easily take everything with you. Yeah, everything's there. So yeah, it hosts your podcast. So I no longer pay for an email provider, or I have no autoresponders. It's very freeing. Feels very free. The only software that I'm paying for now is Substack. I don't need SoundCloud or some podcast hosting or anything else. It's all integrated, and you just unlock so much more value by having such a more concentrated, place to be, and place to be discovered as well, and place to be shared. So everyone that shares a newsletter can find your podcast, can, end up being a paying subscriber. Very cool. Yeah, it's super cool. Like I had a conversation with Amelia Gardner recently, a couple of days ago about this, and rambled on for a long time and kind of blew her mind, I think. And I think she's going to be considering doing something similar. I think a lot of people are going to be looking at this because you can just you can build a much bigger audience way quicker and make a lot more money. However, we're talking about, buying and selling websites. So let's not get too distracted, but there's a lot that you can learn from this. Yeah. Right. From these new platforms, and also just like considering what you're doing as being a publisher. I think there's a lot that you can learn from that. And so, Zoic ad network, AI-driven platform, considers their customers as publishers. And I don't think as site builders, we typically consider ourselves that way. And so I think you can kind of start to think a little bit differently and a little bit more professionally, and consider what you're doing more as a publisher can lead you into more profitable areas and find other ways of monetizing and treating it as a business.
Definitely.
So yeah.